You have probably seen this quote somewhere on Instagram, on a gym wall, on someone's WhatsApp status. Strength is life, weakness is death. Swami Vivekananda. Most people read it and think, okay, be strong, work hard, don't give up, and they move on. But when I went to the actual source, volume 2 of the complete works, I found that Vivekananda was talking about something completely different. Something so deep, once you understand it, the quote never sounds the same again. That's what this video is about. Here is what we typically think strength means. Don't show emotion, push through pain, never ask for help, be the person who has everything figured it out. We have been sold this version of strength our whole lives, and most of us are exhausted trying to perform it because that version of strength is actually a mask. It's not strength, it's a suppression, and deep down we know it. The other version we see, social media strength, is also fake. Highlight reels, filters, the best 1% of someone's life on display. So we end up confused. We want to be strong. We don't know what that actually means. And every time we feel weak, afraid, doubtful, uncertain, we think something is fundamentally wrong with us. Vivekananda looked at this exact confusion and said, you don't have a strength problem, you have an identity problem. And that changes everything. To understand what Vivekananda means by strength, you first need to understand what he believed you actually are, not who society says you are, not who your past has made you, what you actually are at the deepest level. He said in volume 2, Practical Vedanta, each soul is potentially divine. Potentially divine. Not becoming divine, not trying to become divine, already potentially divine. He believed that every human being carries within them something infinite, something unlimited, something that cannot be destroyed. He called it the Atma, the true self. And then he said something that reframes the entire idea of weakness. He said weakness is forgetting what you are. When you feel small, afraid, not enough, it's not because you are those things. It's because you have forgotten your actual nature. He wrote, the history of the world is the history of few men who had faith in themselves. The history of the world is the history of a few men who had faith in themselves. Faith in themselves, not arrogance, not ego, not self-promotion. Faith in the self, the actual self, the Atman, the infinite thing inside you that fear cannot touch. That is the strength Swami Vivekananda is talking about, not the performance of strength, the source of it. Now, here is where it gets very practical. In volume 3, the lectures from Colombo to Almora, Vivekananda gave one of his most famous messages to the youth of India. He said, strength. Strength is what the Upanishads speak to me from every page. This is the one great thing to remember. It has been the one great lesson I have been taught in my life. Strength. It says, strength, oh man, be not weak. He repeated the word 5 times in one paragraph. He wasn't being dramatic. He was trying to shake something awake in people. Because Vivekananda had traveled the world, America, England, Europe, and he had seen what happens to people and to nations when weakness becomes a habit. When people believe they are small, they act small. When they believe they are limited, they live limited lives. And the tragedy is the limitation was never real. He also said something that sounds almost confrontational. He said, "The older I grow, the more everything seems to be. The older I grow, the more everything seems to me to lie in manliness." What I mean by manliness is not the physical, it is the courage to be. The courage to be. Not the courage to succeed, not the courage to win, the courage to simply be. Fully, completely, without apology. That is the strength he wants you to find. Let me tell you something about Vivekananda's own life that most people don't know. When he was young, before he became Vivekananda, his name was Narendranath Datta, and he was not always confident. He went through years of severe doubt, poverty, grief. His father died suddenly and left the family in financial ruin. He was in his early 20s and suddenly responsible for his mother and siblings. He went door to door looking for work and found nothing. He himself described this period as the darkest of his life. He questioned God, he questioned everything. But here is what he did not do. He did not let that circumstance become his identity. He kept studying, he kept asking questions, he kept going to his teacher, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. And slowly, through understanding his own nature, the fear started to dissolve. The doubt started to dissolve. Not because his circumstances changed overnight, but because he changed. He found the strength Vedanta talks about, the one that doesn't depend on your job, your money, your success, or anyone's approval. And from that place, he walked into the Parliament of Religions in Chicago and changed history. So, what do you actually do with this? Vivekananda gives one very clear practice. He calls it affirmation of your true nature. And before you dismiss this as a feel-good self-help, understand that he rooted this in philosophy, not positivity. He said, "All power is within you. You can do anything and everything. Believe in that. Do not believe that you are weak. Do not believe that you are off crazy lunatics, as most of us do nowadays. Stand up and express the divinity within you." Here is the practice, and it's simple. Every time a thought comes that says, "I am not enough," catch it, name it, and then consciously replace it with this question: am I thinking from my true self or from my fear? Your true self, according to Vivekananda, is infinite. Your fear is borrowed. It was given to you by circumstances, by other people, by repeated thoughts. It is not you. The practice is returning again and again to your actual nature. That is what strength is, life means. Not performing strength, not faking confidence, returning to what you already are. Vivekananda said this over 130 years ago, and it's still the most honest thing I have read about what it means to be strong. If video was about what fear actually is, this video is about what replaces it. I am going through all 9 volumes of the complete works, and every video I make goes deeper into this. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one, and if this gave you something, share it with one person. It might exactly what they needed to hear today. Thank you.